Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. First, thank you very much for coming tonight, being present in this actually very holy place. This is a holy place, Tirtha. Wherever the Lord is present, this place becomes Tirtha. So when we go to this place, we are getting blessings, Ashivat, Punya, and our life becomes successful. So thank you very much for coming here and investing a little bit, little less. Haribo. Yeah. Investing in your spiritual development, in your spiritual progress. So today I was thinking to read a short verse from Bhagavad Gita, and then we are going to speak about how to become successful, both materially and spiritually. And then they also gave me the task to unpack the story, the drama. So we are going to say something about that also. So let's read the verse. This is a very famous verse actually, from 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The Divine and Demoniac Natures is called the chapter. It's a text 21. So let's repeat a prayer for auspiciousness together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Trividam narakasyaidam dvaram nashanam atmana kama krodha tata lobha tasmat etat trayam tyajet. There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give this up, for they lead to degradation of the soul. Purport by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The beginning of demoniac life is described herein. One tries to satisfy his lust, and when he cannot, anger and greed arise. A sane man who does not want to glide down to the species of demoniac life must try to give up these three enemies, which can kill the self, to such an extent that there will be no possibility of liberation from the material entanglement. So, we have two natures in us. The good nature and the bad nature. Or in other words, our lower nature and our higher nature. So our higher nature is pushing us for development. Both material development, we want to succeed, we want to make a career, we want to make money, we want to create a family, and also for spiritual progress. We want to develop ourselves spiritually. Our lower nature is tempting us to go to degradation. In other words, neither to achieve material success nor spiritual success. So sometimes it is said that an angel and a devil at the same time live in our heart, and they speak, and sometimes the angel is speaking and we kind of feel inspired to make something good, help others, whatever, give donation, but sometimes the devil starts speaking in our mind. He's such a rascal. He's actually the main problem in your life. Get rid of him. Kill him. So the mind is giving all these devil's ideas, demoniac ideas. So we have both in our life. Now we have freedom to decide what to do with our life. And according to our choices, our life can go one direction or can go other direction. Sometimes we see people are making the right choices, so they go very much in one direction. Other times, people make the wrong choices, they go in the other direction. Sometimes there are people who are making the right choices for a very long time in their life, but then at some point, they decide to take the other way. Or opposite. Sometimes someone for a very long time he has troubles in his life, but then he suddenly decides to make a serious turn in his life. There is one famous singer, I won't tell you which one, but for a very long time he was living on the streets and he was hardly having where to sleep and what to eat. Then at some point a huge change happened in his life and he became very, very, very famous. Actually he wrote one song. Which one? No, other one. Well, that's a very classical story. I guess happened many, many times in the history of the world. But he wrote a song and apparently it was nothing special. But then he sang the song to a friend and he said, "Well, that's a great song. That's a great song. Let's do something about it." And then he recorded the song and it became like a huge hit. Everybody was listening to the song. And suddenly he became super famous and he became super rich. So sometimes the life brings us through different turns, yes? Now, if we want to make a change in our life, what is the beginning? What is the beginning of material prosperity and the spiritual prosperity? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining that our life, human life, is meant for development of real knowledge. A real knowledge. So what is real knowledge? Nowadays the world has so much knowledge. Do we really have knowledge? What do you think? I mean, you can just Google whatever you like and it looks like you have knowledge. Is this a real knowledge? What do you think? Just information. You're a very intelligent person.
The real knowledge is like something knowing about Krishna and then what is our connection to Krishna.
Okay, very good point. So we have information and we have knowledge. So what is the difference between the two? Well, the knowledge can change your life. Information, not necessary. I mean, you can apparently know many things, but your life stays the same. You have the same bad habits, you have the same problems on your job, in your family, your relationships with your parents, whatever. So the difference between information And the knowledge can create a revolution, can create a change in your life. And on the basis of this, we can say that our life is meant for transformation. We need a knowledge that will be able to transform our life, will transform our character. Srila Prabhupada in one purport in Bhagavad Gita, he is saying actually that the Vedic knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, is not just meant for a recreation. It's meant for change of character, to change our qualities, to change our lifestyle, to change our relationships with others. So now, not to become too dry and too philosophical, I'm just planning to tell you different stories, and we'll try to get some wisdom from all these stories. Do you like stories? I also. So let's go to some stories, okay? Story number 1. It's a story that is teaching us what is the most important quality to be successful, both materially and spiritually. So there was one guru. Everybody knows what is guru, yes? So the guru had to go somewhere, and he decided to give a job, a task to his disciple. And he brought all these plants and said to his disciple, okay, now you see this field? Now I want you to go and put them in the ground, with the roots upwards and the leaves downwards, okay? And the disciple was a little bit confused. Okay, yes, Guru Maharaj. So Guru Maharaj left, went to do something for 1 day, 2 days, and then the disciple thought for a while, and he said, well, I think my Guru Maharaj is getting a little bit old. You know, he starts forgetting what's the right way to do things. I guess he became confused. Like, what is the purpose of putting a plant with the roots upwards and the leaves downwards? Obviously, it should be the other way around. So let me use my intelligence and let me do the job the right way. So he took all the plants and he put them in the ground, watered them, everything good. Now, Guruji will be happy. And the Guru came after 2 days, and he looked at the garden, he looked at his disciple, and he said, what have you done? What have you done? I told you what to do. And the disciple, he was shocked. He said, well, but Guru Maharaj, if I would follow your instructions exactly, nothing would grow. Nothing would grow. I mean, if I put them with the leaves down and the roots up, nothing will grow. And the Guru looked at his disciple and said, something would grow. It would grow humility. So this is the beginning of success. If we want to make advancement, we have to be humble. Humble means you don't think you already know everything, but rather you are ready to learn. Isn't it? Now if you go to your boss and he tried to explain something to you that you have to do, and you just 5 times you just break his talk and you just say, don't explain anymore, I know everything, I'm very qualified, okay? What will happen most probably? He may decide to give you a little bit of break, huh? What do you think? And the same is in the spiritual life. I mean, if you already think that you know everything, you cannot learn much. Sometimes they say, you cannot put something in a cup which is already full. If you have a full cup and you're trying to put something inside, it's not going to work. The cup is already full. So if we already think that we know everything, it will be very, very difficult to learn something. So this is the beginning of our success, both materially and spiritually. We have to be ready to take the humble position and to learn something. Now I'll give you another story. How important is to develop good character, good qualities in our life. It's a famous story from Ramayana. How many of you have heard about Ramayana? Okay, quite few. Very nice. It's a famous story, but maybe not many of you know this story. It's a story about a bear and a man and a tiger. Do you know this story? No? Okay. Do you want to hear it? Okay. So, there was a man he went into the forest to do his job, and then suddenly a tiger started running after him. And the man became very, very scared, and he was running, and then the last moment he managed to go on a high tree. And then while he went up on the tree, he saw a bear there. And then he was in a very difficult position. So there is a tiger under and a bear above, and he is in the middle. What to do now? Well, he was very scared. And then the tiger used his intelligence and said to the bear, Just see, this is our mutual enemy, the man. He is a rascal number one. He is always trying to kill us. Help me. Just push him out of the tree and I'm with him. Job done. But then what was the answer of the bear? The bear said, well, this is my tree. And he came as a guest, and now I have to treat him as a guest. So I cannot do that. I have to take care of him. And the tiger thought for a while. And he turned towards the man, and he said, just see, I'll wait for you here. And if you want to save your life, push the bear immediately, and then I'll eat the bear, and you will survive. Do it immediately. And the man thought about it, and thought about it, and what did he do? He pushed the bear. And the bear started falling, but the last moment managed to catch a branch, and started going up, and up, and up. And then the tiger immediately used the situation and said, you see, he's such a rascal, and you are protecting him, and you're taking care for him. Push him immediately, and I'll eat him, and your life will be spared. What did the bear say? It doesn't matter what is he doing, still he is my guest, and still I have to take care of him. So this story was taught in Ramayana to show how important it is to have a noble character, to be a person who is following Dharma. You know this word, Dharma, yes? You know Dharma? So what is the idea of Dharma? Dharma means you have a duty in life, and you have to do your duty. It doesn't matter what kind of result you get. Sometimes the result will come fast, sometimes the result won't come. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because if you're following your Dharma, very, very soon a great result will come out of it. Sometimes people, they are very much eager to get a fast result. So then they are trying to cut corners, as they say. Try an easy way out of the situation. The Dharma won't give you a fast result, but it will give you a very permanent result. Like sometimes in India you can see these aristocratic families, and they are rich very long time. Like many, many generations, 10, 20, 30 generations. They are always rich, always. How is that? Because they are very strictly following Dharma. They are always doing what is the right thing to do. And because of that, because they protect Dharma, Dharma is protecting them. So everything good comes in their life. So the point that I am trying to make is that if we put little bit time to develop our knowledge, to develop our qualities, a good set of qualities, a good conduct, the Sanskrit word is sadachar. Have you heard this word? Sadachar. A good way of acting, a good way of action. If we are doing this thing, everything good will come in our life within a very, very short time. And then if we just try to cut corners, if we just try to find the easy way out of the situation, the permanent result won't be so permanent. It will be very, very short result. I'll give you another story. There was a man and he had a big business, so he wanted to hire a person to help him. And he called for people. So there were two guys who decided to come for an interview. The first one entered into the room. He just opened the door and he entered, and he was like, he did it the American way, very confidently. And he sat down, and the businessman said, so what is your qualification? He said, yeah, I studied this, I studied that, I work here, I work there, very competent, I know everything. And he said, okay, very good. Thank you very much for your interview. I really see you are a very capable person and you can do this job very, very well. Thank you very much. So I have another interview and then I will make my decision. Thank you, please leave. And then the second person came. He entered, he was a little bit shy person, so he entered, he closed the door very carefully, then he sat down on the chair, and he started explaining his qualification. He had some qualification, but not as good as the first guy. And then they had a very nice exchange, he was very cultured. And then at the end, the businessman, he said, thank you very much. I really appreciate your input, what you have told me, and I see you have the minimum qualification that is required for this job, so thank you. I'll just think a little bit and I will let you know what's my decision. Then he called for his secretary and he came and he said, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking I'll give the job to the second one. And the secretary said, I mean, the first one is like 30 times more qualified. He has much more experience, he looks very confident, he did this job for quite a number of years. Why are you choosing the second one? So what do you think? Why did he choose the second one? Why?
First one is not ready to learn, second one is more humble and learning attitude.
Very good point, yes. What else?
The first one had his cup already full, the second one moving.
Okay, yes, similar. He's ready to learn something. Very good, yes. What else? Something else? That's already more or less, yes, but there is something also very nice that we can get from this story. Humility, okay, very, very, very close, yes. First one is more egoistic, yes, yes, yes. What else? Akil. Okay, humility. Okay, someone else wants to say?
Second one also expressed gratitude for the interaction.
Gratitude. Okay, yes, another good quality. Something else? Some other thoughts? Thank you. Yeah, basically you got it. The first one, he was like a full cup. And he had a very good qualification, very good skills, but his character was not perfect. Second one, he didn't completely have the skills for this job, but he had a very, very good qualities. He had a very good values, very good character. So the businessman, he explained to his secretary, you know what, the first one is more qualified. The second one, he has all the needed qualities. And I can train him just for 1 year to do this job perfect. Because he has a good qualities, good character, we'll be able to work together for a number of years. First one, although very qualified, I see his character is a little bit rough and tough. He just entered a little bit puffed up. He even didn't close the door behind himself. So, although he's very qualified materially, he has all the needed skills, it will be much more difficult to work with him. So you know what? I will invest in the second one. So this shows that people who are really up there, these people, they know that between skills and the qualities, which one is more important? the qualities. Why? Huh? Yes. Skills you can learn for a month, or 2, a year. To develop a proper character, proper qualities, it takes a whole life. It takes at least 10, 15 years. So if someone already has the good qualities, the good character, he is a super good material for everything. He can do everything very nicely materially, he can develop himself very nicely spiritually. So that's why this is a very, very serious basis for our development in life. It doesn't matter material or spiritual. Take some years, take some process, take some practices that will help you to develop these good qualities, good character. And if you have this, you'll be successful everywhere. If you follow Dharma and you have a good character, you're always acting in the right way, you'll be successful everywhere. You'll see, 100%. And that was we could say, one of the conclusions from the story that we heard. This story about this Brahmana and about this cobbler and about Narada Muni. I mean, from one perspective you could say the Brahmana, he was extremely qualified, yes? He was like, he knew how to do all the pujas and mantras and tantras and pujas, everything. He was like perfect. But his attitude, his character was not perfect. He was very much proud that he's already very elevated and he knows everything and he must go to the spiritual world already, immediately after this life. Whereas the cobbler, although he was very simple-hearted, actually he was very, very advanced. Why? Because his faith was very, very strong. His faith was very, very, very strong. And he had such a realization. I mean, how it is possible for God to do impossible things? Just by observing the nature around, he could see this. Immediately he could understand, wow, yeah, God, he is constantly making miracles. What's the problem to make one more miracle? So if we have this strong faith, this strong idea, understanding, if we are ready to act on it, meaning we have good qualities in our life, it will be very easy. So we will take the great way. We just heard there are different gates. Some gates are bringing us to degradation, and some gates are bringing us to elevation. We have to take the great way, the way to elevation, the way to go up. This is very, very important. Then I have another story for you. You want to hear it? It's about people who have doubts in spiritual life. Do you sometimes have doubts? I have. So there was one person who was like us. He had some doubts. He was a captain of a ship. And he was like a devotee. He was devoted to God, to Krishna, to Vishnu. But you know, sometimes, from time to time, he was not really sure. Well, maybe God is there, maybe God is not there, I don't know. Like, he's not always reciprocating to me. He's not always reciprocating. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So one day he was there, driving the big ship, and he was thinking, I don't know. I mean, if really there is God, if really God exists, he should be able now, in this moment, to prove this to me. And if he proves it, I'll believe. Okay? Deal? And while he was just there alone, there was nobody, there was nothing, and he was just driving the ship. And you know, the ships, they have these big radars, and they are showing you if there is something dangerous on one side, the other side, in front. So they are constantly seeing if there is some object, whatever. And suddenly, there on the small screen in front of him, the radar caught something, and there was a sign: Vishnu is just in front of you. He was like shocked. Wow. What does that mean? Vishnu is in front of me. I cannot believe. How Vishnu is in front of me? And then little later, he saw there is a ship just in front of him. So it happened that was an Indian ship, and it was called Vishnu. But he immediately took it. Okay, that was a sign from God. That was a sign from Krishna. Krishna is trying to make my faith stronger. There was another man. He was praying very, 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 very seriously to God for a very long time. And then God personally appeared in front of him and told him, you know, you are very dear to me, so I will always protect you. I will be always with you. No matter what's happening in your life, 100% I will be with you and I will protect you. And then the man said, my dear Lord, thank you very much for being so kind to me. But you know, I'm just ordinary man. And we men, sometimes we have some doubts. Is it? Is it so? Sometimes we have doubts. Like sometimes we are very confident, but next day you're not so confident. So how to know that you're always with me? Give me some way to perceive that you're always with me so that I have this strong faith. And then the God told him, you know, if sometimes you have doubts, turn back and you'll see behind your steps there will be another steps. These will be my steps. I will always walk with you. And then the man was very happy. Great, thank you very much. Now I know you're always with me. And then he started living his life, and sometimes he was having difficult situations, and he was turning back, and he could see his steps are there and there is another pair. So he was very happy. Yes, God is always with me. He's always protecting me. But then, when his life started developing, he really had 2-3 very, very hard situations, very, very difficult situations. Then, in this situation, he actually turned back and he saw only one pair of steps. And the serious doubts came in his mind. I mean, now I need you the most and you're not here. Like you were explaining, you love me so much, this, that, but actually when I need you, you're not here. So this doubt really stayed in his mind. And anyway, he went with his life, and at some point he left this world and he went to the spiritual world. And he was very happy to see God there and spend time. But then this doubt was still in his mind. The doubt was still in his mind. And then he said, my dear Lord, I mean, I really love you, and now I know you love me, and now I'm already in the spiritual world, so everything is perfect. But, you know, I have a serious doubt. I mean, you said you'll be always with me, and you always help me, even in the most difficult situations. But actually, I mean, when the really serious situations came in my life, you were not there. I mean, I turned back, and you were not there, your steps were not there. So, I cannot completely put my faith in you. I cannot completely put my heart. Unless you explain the situation. Maybe if you explain, then we can think about it. And then God looked at him and he said, you know what? When you had some difficult situations, you were turning back and my steps were there. And when you had really difficult situations, you were turning back and my steps were not there. Do you know why? Do you know why? I was carrying you. These were the times when I was carrying you, actually. So I never left you. I was always with you. And I love you so much that I completely took care of you. There are a few very nice stories that I really like from one book called Chaitanya Charitamrita. Have you heard about this book? Who have heard about this book? Okay, some people. So this is a book which describes the life of Sri Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I will show you the picture, but anyway, the golden avatar. You can see the picture just behind the screen, behind me. He was living around 500 years ago in India. So one time he gathered his devotees and he wanted to prove to them that he is God. And he started telling them all these amazing stories. And he called for one great saint, Haridas. And he said, Haridas, do you remember when you were trying to propagate the holy name? And the Muslim ruler, he started creating troubles for you. And at some point, actually, he was so irritated, he actually gave an order that his men, his soldiers, they have to take you and bring you from marketplace to marketplace and beat you with the sticks until you die. Do you remember this? And Haridas said, yes, my lord, I do remember. But do you remember that nothing was happening to you? Do you remember this? And he said, yes, somehow they were beating me, but I was not feeling any pain. I don't know why. It was really a mystical experience. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, do you know why? Do you know why you were not feeling anything? Because they were beating me. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned back and everybody saw the scars from the beating on his back. He said, while they were trying to beat you, I lie down above you on your back. And actually they were beating me. Then he called for another of his devotees and he said, do you remember one time you were very much late with your wife and your daughter? And suddenly behind you there were soldiers and they started rushing after you. And you became very, very afraid. What will happen now? What will happen now? And you reached the river. And then you really wanted fast to cross with the boat, but there was no boat. And there was no boatman. Do you remember this? And this devotee, he said, yes, my dear Lord, I really remember. And do you remember that suddenly from out of nowhere, a boatman came with a boat and helped you to cross the river? And he said, yes, I do remember this, but how do you know this? Because there was no one else there. Only me, my wife, my daughter, and the boatman. How do you know this? And then Lord Chaitanya looked at him and said, you know what? This boatman was I. I came to help you. I came to help you to cross the river. So in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on and on and on. And he was telling an intimate story to each one of his devotees, a story that nobody knows. Nobody knows about this story. So he wanted to prove how actually he is always with us. So like that, we can say as a conclusion that if we try to invest a little bit in this good character and good qualities, and try to follow Dharma, the right way of action, if we develop all these good qualities as humility, as a ready to help others, invest some time in seva, in serving God, our life will become greatly beneficial, both from material perspective and spiritual perspective. So this will be the real gateway to great way. We want the great in life, we will make a rapid advancement, serious advancement. Hare Krishna. Thank you very, very much. You are amazing listeners. It's a big fun to speak when people are listening carefully. Thank you very, very much. So now I just want to open, we have at least 15 minutes or 20 minutes for any kind of question or comment, if you want to add something. Let's turn the topic a little bit. These were just some ideas that I throw in your minds. I'm sure you have many things to say because you are intelligent people. Are you? Yes, you are. Do you have any question or something to add? Yes.
Before the lecture and from the third story, we always have the doubt here and there. How we can increase our faith more into the path which we are going. So the doubts will be there if some situation depend upon the situation. So how we can increase.
Let's say you start a job, yes? You are looking for a job and you meet someone on the street. I mean, generally it doesn't work like that anymore. You have to go through interviews and this and that, but let's say. And then the guy says, yeah, I need just exactly a man like you. So okay, come start working for me. I'll pay you whatever, $1,000 a week. And you say, yeah, great, this is amazing opportunity, thank you very much. But I mean, still you have some doubt. You don't know the guy, maybe he'll pay me, maybe he won't pay me. So how do you go over your doubts?
By trying.
Yes, you do something and then you see what will be the result. And if he pays you, okay, your faith increases. If he doesn't pay, what happens?
Another thing.
Yes, you lose faith. So same thing is in our connections with God. We take a book, let's say we take a Bhagavad Gita and we read Bhagavad Gita, and there Krishna is saying, whatever you do for me, I will immediately reciprocate. If you do 2 steps towards me, I'll do 2 steps for you. And we read this and we are saying, well, maybe it's like that, maybe it's not like that. Now, if we do something about Krishna, I mean, if Krishna really exists, and if he is really a person, and he is saying he will reciprocate, that means he has to reciprocate. Yes? And if he doesn't, that means something is wrong. That means philosophy is bogus. So it's a very practical thing. You try, you do something for Krishna, you do something little bit, like you bring a fruit for Krishna or whatever, and see if he's going to reciprocate. And if he reciprocates, this will make your faith stronger. And then you'll be able to do a little bit more. And then he will reciprocate again, and again, and again, and again. My spiritual master, one time they asked him, have you seen God? Have you seen Krishna? He said, well, yes, I saw him many times as a deity in the temple. But he said, I did not see the image of God. But I felt many, many, many times the hand of God in my life. So this made my faith very, very strong. So like that, if we do a little bit something for Krishna, he will immediately reciprocate, and this will increase more and more and more. I mean, I can tell you a nice story in this regard, but maybe you are fed up with stories. You want another story? It's a nice story, it's illustrating one verse from Bhagavad Gita. There is a very famous verse. In this verse, Krishna is saying, Achintayanto mam ye jana pariupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshema vahamyaham. So Krishna is saying, if someone is constantly thinking of me and is rendering a service to me, I will protect whatever he has in his life. And if something is lacking in his life, I will provide. I'll do that for him. And the word used in Sanskrit is Yoga Kshema Vahami Aham. Aham means me. I'll do it personally. Like Krishna is not saying my energies will do it or my servants will do it. He's saying, no, I will personally take care of the person who is completely surrendered. So then there was one great acharya, great guru. His name is Arjuna Acharya. And he was writing commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. And he came to this verse and he was like scrutinizingly like studying the Sanskrit and the words. And he said, well, Krishna is saying aham, but he doesn't mean me. Why Krishna has to provide personally? I mean, he has so many servants, so powerful servants like the material nature, just so powerful. He can do it through his servants. Why he has to do it personally? But this is not correct word actually. That's not the correct word. And he just, with his pen, he went on the top of the word. And then he wrote another word, which actually means, I'm doing it through my energies. Not directly, not personally. Then it became lunch and he was very hungry, this Arjuna Acharya. And he said to his wife, okay, I'm going to take bath in the river and to do my ceremonies, rituals. You know, the Brahmanas, they are doing these special prayers and chanting mantras. Gayatri Sandhya Vandana 3 times a day. So he went to do all these things, and meanwhile he said, please prepare the lunch, and when I come back, I'll eat. And she said, yeah, sure, no problem. So the moment he left, after whatever, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, she heard someone is knocking on the door. And she went, she opened the door, and 2 boys, one blackish and one whitish. And they were really scared. They were really scared. And they were holding these huge bags of provisions, like whatever, flowers, ghee, honey, sugar, vegetables, sabji, so many different things. And they said, we are bringing this because your husband is very angry at us. And she said, well, wait a minute, what's happening? He just went to take shower. He said, no, we are bringing all these things to your husband, please take them. She said, but what do you mean my husband is angry at you? No, he's very angry. And you see what he did to us. And then they turned, and there was like a scarves on their backs, like that. And she became, and they just left. And she became so worried, like, how my husband, how he can be so cruel? How he's doing such kind of things to these innocent boys? And she became really angry, but anyway, she was cooking because, okay, my duty is to make the lunch for my husband, so she was cooking, but very angry. And she cooked everything and offered, and she was so angry, she just sat down to eat. And at that time, according to the Dharma, like the wife will always first serve the husband and then she will sit down to eat, or a little later with him. And then this Arjunacharya, he came back and he saw like something unusual, like, what's happening? You never did this before. And she just looking with these burning eyes. How can you be so cruel? How can you deal in this way with these innocent boys? And he was like, well, what's happening? I just went to take bath, like, relax a little bit, explain the situation. He said, you're so cruel. You're dealing with people in such a rude way. He said, I didn't do anything. I just went to do my rights and I'm back and like just explaining. He said, well, what to explain? You know better than me. Like these boys that you are so angry at them, they came here. He said, what kind of boys? Like, I don't understand anything. He said, well, these boys, they came here and they brought all these provisions. And he was like, I don't understand. Yeah, they said that you were very bad with them. And they showed me their backs. And they had these scars like you were beating them, or I cannot understand what's happening here. And he was even more confused, like, I don't understand. Describe me these boys, how they were looking like. She said, well, very, very, very beautiful boys, and one was kind of blackish and one was white. And I was like, uh-oh. And he immediately went and he saw the commentary and he understood, yes. Krishna personally came to bring all these things to show me that he is personally taking care of his devotees. Not through his energies, not through anybody else, personally. So he immediately took the pen and reversed the things in the proper way. So Krishna is saying, Yoga Kshema Vahami Aham. For the people who are doing something for me, I'll personally reciprocate. I'll personally take care of them. So that's the story. Hare Krishna. Something else? Yes. Do we have a mic? Yes. Thank you. Can you put it a little closer? Yes. Yes, better.
I always have this confusion between karma and destiny. So as you have mentioned that the actions or the decisions we make, it affects our destiny or the quality of life. So like are we making So my question is, are we making decisions to face the destiny, or just because we are taking these kind of decisions
Can you repeat one more time? Just the question, the last part. Are we?
Yeah, are we taking actions to face destiny, or to face the destiny, are we taking these actions?
So, karma and destiny is the same thing. Yes?
That's the doubt, like karma and destiny.
Yes. Karma, the law of karma, is a very complicated law, but it can be explained in a very easier way. It means we did something before, and now a certain reaction will come because of this action. Let's give an example. Again, our favorite example with working. So let's say you're working. Yes? Today, you went to buy something from the shop. Correct? So the money that you used, they came from today's job, or they came from your job from the last month? Yes. So this is how the karma is working. We did something before, and before we did something in our past, now a certain result is coming. Now if you are a very good worker the last month, you get a good money, and you can get even some premium money. If you are not very good, they may even cut of your salary. So the karma is working in the same way. If you are doing things according to, the word we used is dharma, according to what is the right thing to be done, actually you have a very good life, very smooth life. Now if you are doing some wrong things, then some not so auspicious things will happen in your life. Now most of us, we are doing good things, but sometimes we are also doing something wrong. So that's why we are getting some mixture. Like one day will be very nice, you go to work and your mind is working very nicely, and your body is in a very good health and everything is perfect, and your boss really likes what you're doing. Nice, 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 nice. Then next day you get up, you had a headache, connections on your work or at school, they don't work properly. So it shows that our karma is different actually every day, according to what we did before. It's like every day you watch a new movie. It's like you really start the day and it's a new page, a new page, a new page. Now, these things, they will come in our life. Now the question is what you're going to do about that. What you're going to do about that. What you're doing now, it will determine what will happen in the future. For example, we are good friends, and one day I come and we have a very good relationship, conversation. Next day I come and I'm very angry, and I just have to throw it out to someone, and I come and I say, you are a rascal, you did this, you did that. Now what you're going to do? If you react in the same way, this may determine our future. We may not be friends anymore and this and that. But if you decide anyway, this is coming for some reason, but I won't act in the same way, well, most probably, next day I will rethink my action, and maybe I'll call you and I'll say, sorry, that was very rude, and I was wrong, and I will never do this again, and so on and so on. So it's very, very important what we do. Anything can happen in our life, but what we are doing is very, very important. That's the most important lesson that we have to take from karma. Many things will come in our life. Question is, how do you react? What do you do? Is that okay? Do you want to ask something more?
Sometimes we do the right thing, or the people around us, they try to mess everything up. How do you take this?
Yeah, sometimes we are doing the right thing, and this is, if we are doing now the right thing, that means little bit in the future the right result will come. Yes, maybe we did something wrong before, and that's why now, although we are doing the right thing, because of our previous karma, which is not so good, some elements are coming to disturb us. That's the point. Understand? Hare Krishna. Yes.
Thank you for explaining through like practical examples of this well-adapted was just expressing gratitude before for your lecture in general. I had a question about one of the stories that you told. I don't think personally there was something intrinsically wrong with someone who was confident over his skills. And my question kind of translates into, when do you realize that it is overconfidence or egoism, which could also be fake in yourself, or maybe Lord. I can do a lot of things and be like, I have faith in God, and I'm doing the right things. It's not that I'm doing the wrong things. And it could also be taken as ego. So how do we differentiate between ego and faith in ourselves and in God as well?
Okay, what is the difference between the ego and the faith? Very nice question. Thank you very much. Well, you see, if we have ego does not allow us to learn from anybody, because we already think we are perfect. Now, if someone is a very faithful person, he can be very confident. That's not a problem to be confident. I mean, especially if you have to survive in a place like USA, you have to be confident, you have to show this. But he'll be ready to learn. He will be ready to be corrected from others, and he will accept it, he will take it. He may be a very advanced person, he may be very knowledgeable, he may be very, very qualified. But if someone comes and tells him, hey, that was wrong thing, he'll take it. This will be the difference. So, in other words, externally he may look like someone who is proud, but actually he will be very humble internally. He'll be ready to correct himself, he'll be ready to learn, he'll be ready to improve. Whereas when someone is very much influenced from false ego, or these qualities that we are talking about, lust or greed or anger, you become like a closed person. You don't want to hear anybody else because you think you are the best. If I'm the best, why I have to learn something else from someone else? There is a nice story in this regard. It's with the same sage that we had the drama with, Narada Muni. So one time Narada Muni saw one snake, and he became very pity on the snake, and he decided to initiate her in the process of bhakti. So he's so powerful sage that he made the snake devotee. And then he gave instruction to the snake. He said, now you don't have to buy anymore, okay? This business is over. So the snake said, yes, Guruji, whatever you say. So he came 1 year later to see his disciple, the snake, and said, everything is good, everything is fine. And the snake said, well, not really. And he said, what's the problem? The snake said, well, since you told me not to buy it, all the animals in the jungle are constantly harassing me, because I cannot do anything. And then Narada Muni smiled and he said, well, I told you not to buy it, but you have to still defend yourself. You can open your hoods and scare them out. This is fine. So in the same way, someone who is devotee, someone who is trying to be a spiritual person, he won't be rude, he won't be nasty with others, he won't try to give bad experiences in the life of others just so that he benefits himself. But whenever a job that he is doing, or whatever studies or the task that he is doing requires a certain confidence and a certain action, he would do it. But internally he will be a different personality. So this is the difference. The difference is really how we feel inside. Is that okay? Thank you very much. Something else, or it's time to go to the next part of our program? What will Arjuna Prabhu say? We can do kirtan. Do you like kirtan? Have you heard that in one Shastra it is said, we spoke about karma. And karma means we did some wrong stuff in our past. And that's why now sometimes some wrong stuff is happening. So in one place in the scriptures it is mentioned that if you do kirtan and if you clap your hands during kirtan, the lines of your palms, they change. So immediately your karma becomes very, very auspicious. Have you heard this? Okay, so what does that mean practically for your life? Yes, you have to clap more often and make kirtan. So practically that means tomorrow when you wake up, already in the bed, you just start kirtan immediately. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Then you're going towards the bathroom. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. In the shower. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Or like that. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Then you're cooking the breakfast. Hare Krishna, Krishna. So the more kirtan we make, the better. All our bad karma will be gone. And you will become very happy, very blissful. Do you agree? Do you accept the challenge? Okay, tomorrow we will come to check you out 4 in the morning. I'm not joking. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi. Just wanted to share with you for a second with this Brahmachari, Pandava Prabhu, who is a very good friend of mine. We managed to produce this book. It's actually a book which is a companion for studying Bhagavad Gita. It's not really a book you can of course read it separately, but it's really meant to help you to understand in an easier way the essence, the most important from Bhagavad Gita. So we have a few copies here. Maybe after the kirtan, whoever is interested can come and see the book. Hare Krishna.